all these famous people. He got scared. Oh no, he lost his own identity. He stopped reading immediately because he wanted to remove all other people's thoughts from his head. But it didn't work well. No, he lost his own thoughts also. His head became empty. The prince decided to start reading again. In fact, he spent all his life oscillating between reading and not reading, reading and not reading. He was trying to find a good balance between own identity and external influence. This prince lived in Orhan Pamuk's novel The Black Book, and his story reminds me on an issue which we are facing very often, all of us: relationship between expertise and creativity. When we are becoming better experts, we are gaining some knowledge and practice. And usually we are more and more creative in the beginning because we know more and more and we are getting more and more ideas. But in one moment, our creativity starts going down. Why? Well, when we are learning new things, we are building chains of associations. They help us to memorize things, and they are clustered around domains of expertise. We use these chains in order to create concepts for solving problems within certain domains. You know, you learn, I should apply abstract factory pattern in order to solve this problem in coding. But in one moment, these chains become associative barriers because they force us to apply already learned concepts on solving corresponding problems. So in a way, our expertise starts to constrain our creativity. For example, you're building a software system and you think, who is the user of the system? In most cases, human being. Nowadays, it can be robot also. But your associative barriers constrain you in seeing a cyborg, half human, half robot. So, what should we do then? How we can become more creative? Let's take a deeper look at the innovation process. When we are innovating, most of us are innovators, maybe few of you are real inventors, but in fact we are innovating and we are trying to combine existing things in a new way. When we are innovating within the same domain of expertise, it results in a directional innovation where number of ideas grows linearly. There are two problems with the directional or incremental innovation. The first one comes from the personal perspective, as I already said. If you are innovating only within your domain of expertise, your creativity will start going down sooner or later. The second problem comes from the business perspective. What will happen with your product, service, offering in general if your company is only applying directional innovation? Let's see the typical life cycle of one offering presented by S-curve. Imagine that you are a new company, you have a new great business idea. Hopefully you have already analyzed the market, that no one else is doing the same, and then you introduce your offering to the market. Hopefully it was a good idea, customers want to get there, and then market grows. You are getting more and more customers, but also at the same time you're getting more and more competitors because other companies realize, oh, it's great to do the same thing. So the market grows, and in one moment you realize the market is very mature. So many companies are doing the same. So my product, maybe 10 years ago, was something new on the market. Now is just another Me Too product. So you feel like swimming in a red ocean of the competition. And what are you doing in that situation? You're so frustrated and you think, oh, we should innovate, we should innovate. And then you're thinking, maybe we should add this thing on our main value proposition and so on. And usually you're applying directional innovation. And by doing that, you're just trying to extend, to stretch this S-curve in order to stay on the market as long as possible. But it will not prevent you in coming in this high market situation when it's really tough to beat the competition. What should you do then? If you ask innovation experts, they will tell you, you should find a new S-curve for your offering. Okay, It sounds logical, but how? And then you will hear that magic word, disrupt, 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 disrupt. And I know all of us have heard amazing stories about disruptive innovation, how superior technology destroyed the existing one, as it happened with the digital photography. It's called creative destruction. Or how an inferior technology entered the market as a Trojan horse, but then transferred to superior one and replaced market readers. It's called disruptive innovation. And I know many of us have dreamt doing the same. But honestly speaking, I became a little bit sick and tired of that disruptive innovation because all of us, we know it's not so easy to disrupt, and usually it takes such a long time with the disruption. So what should we do then? How to innovate in a successful way? To disrupt or not to disrupt? That is the question. And in order to find an answer on this question, let's go back to that innovation process. We said with the directional innovation, you are innovating within the same domain. You are, for example, a telecom company, and you are adding some new services features within telecom world, or financial services, and etc. But maybe we can do things differently. Maybe we can apply concepts from one domain in another domain to combine two completely different domains. Do you remember how did we get design patterns? When principles for building houses and cities were applied on software development. Swarm intelligence, the collective behavior of non-centralized, self-organized systems that are nowadays used in artificial intelligence. We got inspired by insects and ant colonies, how they are signaling between each other, applied that on computer science, and got swarm intelligence. The Serbian physicist Mihailo Pupin applied Lagrange theorem on telephone line and got Pupin coils, which are still used in telephony. Richard Dawkins, how did he develop mimetics, meme concept and mimetics discipline? He applied concepts from genetic evolution on cultural behavior and got that. Lean software development, we got it by applying principles from Toyota production into software development, and it resulted in a lean software development. All these examples are great examples of something that is called intersectional innovation. You can innovate by combining two completely different domains and finding intersections between them, usually by applying concepts from one domain where you are expert into another domain. By intersectional innovation, you get explosion of new ideas, exponential growth of ideas. It's a pure combinatoric. All of a sudden, you have a much more combinations to try to combine different domains. And furthermore, intersectional innovation usually results in a groundbreaking ideas because they're so unusual. No one combined these two domains in that way. This morning, we heard a great example of intersectional innovation presented by Sam Iron. How did he develop Sonic Pi? By combining coding principles and music, art and research. Also, intersectional innovation can be applicable on many different levels. You can apply that from the company perspective level in developing new offerings, but also in your everyday work with the software development. For example, this March, I heard an excellent talk by Ubisoft at the Data Innovation Summit here in Stockholm, how they did customer segmentation in programmatic way. They are developing video games, and they were thinking like how they can analyze the actions that players are doing and use that information in order to do customer segmentations. Then they got inspired of algorithms for DNA sequence analysis and applied that on their video games and did an excellent customer segmentation. Intersectional innovation is beautifully explained in the Medici Effect book written by Franz Johansson. And intersectional innovation is a powerful tool which will help us to increase our creativity. Because when we became better experts, we don't want that our creativity goes down, right? So We should use our expertise as an advantage and try to find another domain where we can apply already learned concepts into another domain and get that explosion of new ideas. It's very interesting with the intersectional innovation because it can enable something that is called non-disruptive creation, which happens when you identify and solve a brand new problem and need. So instead of focusing on disrupting something that already exists on the market, you try to recognize a new market need and create a new offering for that. For example, coaching profession. It didn't exist 20 years ago, and now it's one of the fastest growing professions in the world. We have professional coaches, personal coaches, agile coaches, a lot of coaches. How did we get there? By applying concepts from sports coaching into another domains. The next example comes from swimming, since I'm a swimmer. Swim-run competitions, combining swimming and running. It didn't exist 15 years ago. Now it's very popular, and it opened a new market for sports equipment, way of competitions, way how you can train. So non-disruptive creation can help you in finding a new market niche beyond the existing industry, a new so-called blue ocean when there is no competition. It sounds so inspiring. Intersectional innovation, non-disruptive creation, blue ocean, but it seems that I forgot something. Did I forget something? Yes, you're going to tell me. It's really very inspirational, but how can I know among all these groundbreaking ideas that are generated from intersectional innovation, what really creates value for my company, for my industry? And that's very important. Your innovation idea should create a value, preferably business value. Why do you innovate? We should not innovate just for the innovation's sake. Now it's trendy to innovate, so everyone is innovating. Your innovation strategy should create a business value. And how can we know in which direction we should go? We have to take a look at the data, because they can tell us much. For example, what can you see on this picture? A lot of data, a lot of dots, but it does not tell you too much. If you zoom out, you will see that it's part of a very nice Georges Seurat painting. He was impressionist, and he used that pointillism technique. The technique consists of that you're putting a lot of dots on the painting, and by doing that, you are forming different objects. Now we can do a nice parallel with what we are gathering, big data. So we can say all dots that are on this picture, it's data, big data that we are collecting. And then, but they don't tell us too much, just the data. And then we would like to analyze them in order to recognize objects on the picture. And it's exactly what comes from business intelligence and data analysis. Then you see, okay, here is a boat on the picture, tree, lake, house, and etc. Then you get one step further and apply machine learning, because you would like to learn machine to recognize these objects and maybe to innovate in that way. To say, oh, customer likes when there are a lot of boats on the picture, then put several more boats. So I can say that machine learning can help you with a certain type of innovation just with that directional incremental. But there is another thing that you would like to capture from this picture. It's the underlying message. What did the painter wanted to express by this painting? What will be his next painting? His next painting was Eiffel Tower. You cannot predict that by machine learning. And it's called data insights. You would like to capture these underlying messages that are usually hidden in the bottles. It's a nice metaphor. What our customers really like and want? What will be the new thing for them, really? So we would like to capture data insights. So, and then it's important to mention that we need both parts. So everything that is coming from BI, data analysis, machine learning, we can say it's quantitative data, quantitative research. Tell us what is actually happening and help us with the small directional predictions. But collecting data insights, it's qualitative research. All customers, interviews, journeys, surveys that we have to perform in order to collect these insights and then combine them with a quantitative research. And there is another more things. Maybe you are performing these customer surveys at your company, interviews, but then you see, oh, then I get a lot of answers, a lot of post-it notes. What should I do with them? How can I know where should I innovate, in which direction? Sometimes it's clear, but it's not always so clear. So we can say that all data insights are not valuable in the same way. And you would like to capture such data insights which you can directly connect to business value. And these insights are called actionable insights. So we are interested mostly in capturing actionable insights, which will tell us in which direction we should innovate. And of course, it's not an easy job to find it out. But what I found out, there is one approach which helps me a lot in capturing actionable insights. It's called Blue Ocean approach. From the beginning, Blue Ocean strategy was proposed as a business strategy on how you can innovate your business model by non-disruptive creation. But in fact, it's much more than just a business strategy. It offers a lot of frameworks and tools which you can use in order to capture such actionable insights and see the direction where you can innovate. Where is your Blue Ocean new market niche? Now it's a little bit out of the scope for today's talk to talk about Blue Ocean strategy, but I would like to present to you just one of the tools and to see how Blue Ocean strategies use a little bit out of the box thinking. If I ask you, why do you innovate at your company? Most people will say, we would like to satisfy our customers. We have that customers first approach, right? But Blue Ocean strategists say, non-customers first. What do they mean with that? They're thinking, you have a current market, is that red dot with the current customers and current competitors. If you're focusing only on the current customers, it's a really tough fight against all your current competitors because you are fighting against each other for the same market share and around the same customers. But outside the current customers, there are ocean of non-customers. And you can divide that ocean in 3 tiers. The first tiers are non-customers who are standing on the edge of your industry, almost entering that, but are still not there for some reason. The second tier is a tier of refusing non-customers. Non-customers which are aware about your industry and your offering, but are refusing and using that because of some reason. And then you have the third tier of non-customers, customers which don't even know that you exist as a company or your industry. And then you analyze these 3 tiers, tiers of non-customers, and size them and think, oh, look at this tier. It's such a big tier. Maybe it's better to stop competing around that small set of current customers and untap this ocean of non-customers. And then it's very interesting how you can combine this tool with the intersectional thinking. Then you can think, now here is my primary domain where I work or my company. Maybe I should combine this domain with this completely another domain, and that combination of 2 domains will untap this big tier of non-customers. So it was only one short snapshot for one of the Blue Ocean tools. And now, we are approaching the most exciting moment in my talk. I know that you have been waiting for that since early morning, because now I'm going to reveal the Innovator's recipe for creativity. Are you ready for this moment of truth? 4 ingredients. The first one is intersectional thinking. Search for intersections between domains. They are gold mines of new possibilities. instead of focusing on disruptions, focus on non-disruptive creation. What you can create new, open a new market niche under the existing industry. Use data-driven innovation as much as possible because it helps you with a directional innovation, because it also has to be done. But it's not enough. You should have to have a systematic approach to capturing actionable insights. That is, for example, blue ocean approach. And this was only my prescription. And if you need a doctor appointment, please come and talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mina. I'm really feeling more innovative already. Do you have any questions for Mina? I was thinking, what would you say is the biggest mistake that companies, for example, a software company, that they make trying to be innovative?
I think that now I'm going to speak as a blue ocean strategist, but I think the biggest mistake is that they're just focusing on their domain, their area, current customers. Of course, I'm not saying that it's not important to satisfy the current customers, but usually they think like introducing another domain, intersectional thinking, it's for someone else, and let's beat the competition. So it's much easier to move a little bit from the competition and create something a little bit differently than to keep fighting for competition. Because as I already showed, in one moment it becomes impossible that you are like one stroke of the competition.
They get too focused on the competitors. And
yes. And as someone said, like, if you're just watching your competitors, you will become exactly as they are. And then it's Me Too products all over the place.
Mina, thank you so much. And you will be around for questions afterwards during lunch.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.